What's up, Tiger Gang? It's JT here from the Poco Moonshine family. We're back with another episode of Chatting with Carnivores. Today I have a co-host, John from Carnivore Backwoods. What's up,
Hey,
John?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, no problem. And our special guest, Dr. Lisa Wiedeman. How you doing, Doctor?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, this is gonna be a blast. I've been waiting for this. Where? Let's start with location-wise. Where you from and where you at now?
I'm in New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey and I am here on the Jersey Shore. I spend some time in the winter in Florida, but just taking trips and visiting friends and things. But I am based just totally in New Jersey right now.
I think Jersey Shore. I think the TV show with Snooki and JWoww and the whole
Yeah.
crew.
I never saw that show, but
No,
I think it gave New Jersey a bad rap. People think we all have that Jersey accent, but we don't.
yeah, no. I'm not hearing it out of you though. So question here: what got you into carnivore? What was your path here? How did you find carnivore, and what inspired it?
Yeah, my long sort of history of dealing with a very severe sugar addiction, carb processed food addiction, eating disorders. I just could not figure out what was wrong and why I couldn't figure out how to get myself out of that mess. And at the time, didn't understand or realize that it really truly was an actual addiction and that you could actually be addicted to sugar and carbs. And so I just struggled for about 30 years and even all the way through college and grad school. And yeah, I was just very fortunate in 2009. I was surfing the web. This was before Instagram and before Facebook. And I just happened upon, there was forums back there and there was a very popular, I guess coming off of the popularity of Atkins and the whole low carb thing. It was basically a low carb uh, website forum. And there was a group that branched off to do zero carb. And Charles Washington, they got kicked off of the group because their zero carb thread got rather large. And I happened upon that website that they branched off and made, and it was just incredible to me. I was riveted. I was just reading in different people's journals on this forum, and it's like, wow, it's this group of wacky people who eat only meat. And but there was people in there resolving themselves with so many issues. And two in particular that stood out, two different women had spoken about how this totally relieved them of their eating disorders and their binge eating. And I thought, okay, well, heck, here we are. Let's start tomorrow. And then I thought, gosh, could this really be healthy? Like, just that's it? No fruit, no vegetable? Like, in my mind, of course, I was in the same brainwashed mode of all of us. You got to eat lots of fruits and vegetables and low fat and lots of fiber. And this was going against all of that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to jump in and start it, and I will research along the way. And this amazing group of people who became my tribe and my support, we started talking about Vilmar Stephenson, the Fat of the Land, like different uh, writings of, and then there was a lot. Owsley, the Bear Stanley, I think he was the music director of Grateful Dead, or he was the sound man for Grateful Dead, and he had been eating this way for about like some ridiculous amount of time, like 40 years. And so we would read his writings and, just kind of evolved where the more I stayed in it with these people and researched and learned, and the longer now I am 2 months in, 4 months in, 6 months in, and I am feeling like I want to get up on the top of the roof and just scream it from the rooftops and let everybody know about how amazing this is and how it relieves so many different diseases and depression and anxiety and acne and you name it, diabetes, and could it possibly prevent cancer and Alzheimer's, and just the it was just a big whirlwind of trying to say, wow, we got something here. This is amazing, and more people need to know about this. And then there was Gary Taubes, um, and good calories, bad calories, and he wrote also Why We Get Fat, and then Nina Teicholz, The Big Fat Surprise, and then more and more writings were coming out, and then reading about Lustig, who he's big on the whole sugar issue, and it just kept going and going and going, like month after month after month. And then finally, after a couple years of that, the group morphed into going onto Facebook, because then Facebook exploded, and it kind of turned over into that group. And then a lot of us, we'll call us OG veterans from back then, I just got like, I realized that, especially, you got to remember, this is almost 15 years ago. Not too many people wanted to hear from this crazy person talking about eating only meat and drinking water. And so, I just started to I just went about my life eating my meat. And it wasn't until about, I guess, I don't know, I think maybe it was about 5 years ago now, or 4 years, that Dr. Sean Baker went on Joe Rogan, and then Jordan Peterson with Michaela Peterson's story. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. People are talking about this thing that I wanted to scream about so long ago. But okay, I'm going to pay attention. And I just decided, just randomly, I was like, well, let me make a separate little Instagram account where I will follow some of these, people who are getting into this zero carb carnivore keto thing. And I decided to call it Carnivore Doctor. And what happened was, people would be writing in there into other people's posts about, well, this is all well and good, but it's fine until you die of a heart attack 5 years from now. This is not sustainable. And I was like, hello, let me let me butt in here a minute. And so at the time, I guess I was about 11 or 12 years into it. And yeah, I had a lot to say, and a lot of people wanted to listen, and it just kept growing and growing. And then I started posting about it, and it was exciting for me, because I kind of felt like I had a little bit of uh, let's say, support behind me, because there was other physicians. I mean, I'm an optometric physician. I've been in practice over 30 years, but even even with having a medical degree, I can tell you, because, and I believe it's because how strong this is addiction is, people don't want to give up that crap that they love to eat so much. And unless you really have your own true why that makes you cry, that really, that feeling inside that this something is so wrong, or I just want to be better, I want to do better, I want to feel better, like, you have to have that in you, or else you're not going to, even if Aunt so and so's got bad arthritis, she's like, oh, don't get old, honey, it just happens when when you get old. Everybody thinks these are diseases of aging. And I was like, no, no, it's not. And you could change this around. And but then tell somebody like that to give up their chocolate and their cookies and their cereal in the morning, and try to discuss how oatmeal isn't healthy, but they eat their oatmeal and banana every day because they think they're eating healthy. And it's just very tiring to be in that spot. So, you learn who's willing um, to listen, who's willing to be open-minded and learn. And you're also very aware of people who, not in a million years would they give up everything, pizza, hoagies, you name it, pasta, rice, all the stuff that, people are like, yeah, I don't think you really are correct in what you're saying here. And I was like, okay, I feel good. I've never felt better. I'm almost 59, and I just feel like I could take on the world by storm because I have my health and I have energy and I have mental clarity, which is really big in this too, is not having that mental fog and just such an optimistic outview that, this life is gonna happen whether we eat junk or not. And it's your choice whether you go down that bad path into medication, pharmaceuticals, physician visits, test after test, or you go hiking and biking and kayaking and walking and just doing what you love to do. And, without our health, there's no quality of life. That's just the way it is.
It's so true. I personally didn't look for this diet and never would have found it had I not gotten sick of having sleep apnea and IBS. So I feel like, unless you're really looking for something, you're not going to find it, especially something like this diet. What do you think, John?
Oh, I agree. I agree that if I hadn't been looking on the internet, I never would have found this. Who would have thought? And the funny thing is I ate pretty close to this most of my life. Just added all that extra junk in there that I didn't need. So it's not like I had to cut a lot out of my diet to get here. So
Yeah,
How
and
was your transition, doctor? Did you get like the keto flu like some people get?
yeah, I had dabbled in and out of paleo and just basically which is like no sugar, no flour kind of thing. Low carb. I never did keto. Keto wasn't really a thing or you know, there I don't know whether I just skipped right over it or it wasn't really a thing at that point back then. But yeah, I didn't really have too much of a difficult time because I was already for probably a couple years prior to that thinking, okay, I'm going to be paleo. And paleo was working good. When I gave up flour and sugar, I was like, oh, this is something. But you know what? You could eat anything that, so it was kind of like termed as if you were out on the savannah with a sharp stick, what could you eat? So you could kill animals, you could fish, you could forage for berries and edible, raw vegetable kind of thing. But I started realizing I could binge on dried apricots and I could binge on pineapple and cleaning strawberries for my kids. Every other one went in my mouth, but it was paleo, it was okay, but it didn't relieve my cravings. And then I would start binging and back and forth. I was on this horrible roller coaster. And yeah, so when I finally did uh, awaken to this whole zero carb, we called it zero carb then because it was zeroing in on health was the name of the group. It was a pretty simple transition because number one, I was so excited to experience what these other people were experiencing. Didn't matter what was happening. I was like, this is awesome. I can't wait. And interesting when you said that, like for you, it was like IBS that you were like, and sleep apnea and trying to figure out and find and hunt. Charles Washington said, the lucky ones get fat because with obesity then comes that drive to say, I got to get this weight off. Either it was, causing back issues or vanity issues or whatever it is. The lucky ones will get fat. The unlucky ones are the people who are, let's say, maybe in the general population, or maybe they're a little overweight, but it's the toxic food is taking the toll on their body in a different way, in a very slow, insidious, long-term, we call it slow suicide. It's eventually going to lead to Alzheimer's or stroke or heart disease or diabetes. But if they had been lucky enough that their insulin sensitivity would have been something that got, attacked and they got fat, they would have been hunting the answer much younger than typically now that you see so many people are mainly in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that are turning to this and trying to figure this all out.
That's incredible. Um, I just wanted you brought up binging. Do you have any tips for people that find themselves binging, even on the carnivore diet, if they fall off or if they're not on carnivore yet? And do you think carnivore could help the binging?
Well, yeah, it can resolve it, but it resolves the physical cravings because once you eliminate, the grains, the sugars, and the processed foods, the physical craving goes. The problem is that the majority of the issue around binging becomes is because a big part of it is your emotional attachment to foods and why you eat to either fill an emotional void or turning to food for any sort of emotional reasons of stress, loneliness, anger, you know
Boredom.
boredom, procrastination. Yeah, so many different reasons. It's so easy to turn to food, and it becomes, for many of us, a lifelong survival tactic. And it's what we turn to for comfort or to,
The holidays, right?
yeah. Yeah. So in answer to your question, really, of what can help for people that, continue to falter into this whole binging, I call it the ditch. You go down into the carb ditch. It's having support and having a group that you can be around and talk with, because if you're in a home situation where, let's say, you have older teen kids and a spouse who thinks you're nuts. And meanwhile, you have said to yourself, from your research and all of the people that you're listening to and learning about, and it's starting to, you're trying it and you're doing it, but then you have people who are sabotaging you, right? Or you're in an environment where there's ice cream in the freezer and there's cereal in the cabinet and there's cookies that need to be baked for a bake sale, and it makes it very difficult. It's almost similar to like an alcoholic becoming sober and in remission, and that you have to treat this pretty seriously. You have to get this stuff out of your house. You have to surround yourself with people who are living your similar lifestyle, and you can't go out with your friends anymore who are going to just continue to try to coerce you into eating the bloomin' onion and passing all the desserts and drinking. And it really has to come down to you deciding how serious of an issue this really is, how badly you want it for yourself. And the hard part is that it's so easy when you have those friends inviting you out to go, well, of course I'm going to go out. I can handle it. And then the next thing you know, you're at, let's say they decide to go Mexican place, and there's not such great choices there because they use a lot of seed oils. And then all of a sudden, the warm homemade nachos with the fresh guacamole is there. And everybody is raving. Oh my God, these are the best homemade tortillas you will ever have. You have to try this, right? You got to try that. And you're like, huh, you know, and it's like, oh, because you want to fit in and you're having fun and maybe you've had a drink, and then that lowers your resistance to, staying on track altogether. And it comes down to, there's a part inside of you that is still fighting off that ditch demon and really wants that food because you remember how good it tastes and you want to eat it again. So you let these people sabotage you. I mean, because anybody could say, well, nobody has control over what I put in my mouth. That's very true. It really is. But you have to remember, though, you're influenced by everybody around you, and you're also you have an ingrained from childhood what you were fed, what you ate, and how you reacted, and what your relationship is with food all these years. And now all of a sudden you're trying to flip this like on its head and go to this dramatically different way of eating. And it makes it really hard when you don't have a support system around you. And, I host weekly Zooms, and every week we're in there and we're talking about our successes, our struggles, what's coming up, and what we need to plan for, and how we're going to plan for it, and how to talk to people who are going to come up to you at the holidays and say, oh my gosh, are you still doing that meat eating thing? You can't possibly think that's healthy. And then feeling attacked and how to handle that. Because, when somebody, yeah, when somebody is uh, trying to pretty much make you feel less, it's your instant reaction to try to defend yourself. And I always say to everybody, I say, you do not need to defend yourself, and you do not um, owe anybody an explanation. And all you have to say is, you know what? Thanks for your concern, but I've never felt better. And then just go about a conversation with somebody else, because people have to realize that you really are the only one that has control over what you put in your body. And you'll hopefully have so many positive changes that are happening, that you won't give a crap what anybody thinks or what anybody says.
Yeah, the holidays are going to be very tough between Thanksgiving and Christmas. With the even the Christmas cookies, I hope people get around people that are going to support them in their this lifestyle. So even if it's a fellow carnivore, find somebody who's going to support you and not kind of be like, well, you don't need that anyways. I just feel like that support is so important, like Dr. Lisa said. Now, speaking of
I
quick
bet.
holidays, a fun question: what's your favorite holiday, Doctor?
Oh, my favorite holiday. Gosh. My favorite holiday as far as carnivores concerned, actually, I can turn any holiday into a carnivore bonanza, because at at Thanksgiving, my mom knows we don't just have a turkey. We have a turkey and a prime rib. And
Let's
at
go.
Christmas, it's a big standing rib. And so for me, because everybody knows the way I eat, and nobody pushes any stuffing or mashed potatoes or pie on me, I will tend to, after dinner's over and I start smelling the coffee and I'm hearing and seeing desserts coming out, I just get my jacket on. I go for a walk, and um, I just find that it just makes it easier to remove yourself from that traditional structure of having dessert and doing something healthy.
That's great. John, what's your favorite holiday, John?
My favorite holiday, I like the 4th of July. I like summertime, being able to get outside, go to the lake, spend time with the family. Of course, I'm an outdoors guy, so, anything I could do outside is always my favorite. I like wintertime, but not for the holidays. I like winter for the hunting and being outdoors by myself. So,
I would say mine's Halloween. We just passed it, but I love the costumes. And it's the one day where anything weird looks normal, and I think that's fun. What are some hobbies you have that might surprise us, Doctor?
Oh gosh, hobbies that I have. Um, I guess all sorts of different things, I mean, I ski, I golf. I used to be a pretty avid tennis player, but I have some rotator cuff issues, so I'm squelching that. But I played the piano as a kid, and now I'm looking into getting a keyboard and revving up that little desire to play and play better. Um, yeah, I love being around the water. I like to fish. I snow ski. Um, and it's, with this way of life, I think it naturally draws people outdoors and outside, because you realize how important the sun is and how important it is to be outside, not only just for physical activity, but for grounding and fresh air and getting UV light into our eyes. And a lot of people will uh, question that, as far as, no, my doctor told me I got to wear sunglasses all the time. I say, no, let the sunlight in your eyes. It's so important. Our eyes are connected to our brains. We need that for the proper circadian rhythm and melanin production and so many other different signals that our body gets. And also for skin protection, because your eyes are able, through having the sun come in without the sunglass, signal to your skin that there's a lot of sunshine. And that's why you don't really want to have your sunglasses on all the time, unless you're on the water or reflective area, snow or sand. And obviously there's reasons behind protecting your eyes with sunglasses, but on a day-to-day basis, being outside, it's really beneficial to have no glasses on.
Absolutely. John, you got any fun hobbies?
My hobbies are basically, anything outdoors. Like I said, fishing, hunting, being outdoors. Just taking a walk outdoors, for that matter. So,
Yeah, you got the
doc,
backwoods there.
so Dr. Wiedeman, she lives on the beach. If you ever been to her website, there's some great pictures on there. She's out there doing somersaults down the beach. You know, she's not a day over like about 30 or so. If you look at these pictures, she's an
Carnivore.
amazing lady. I got to meet her at the meetup here in Knoxville here, back in what was it, October, I guess it was,
Yeah,
or so.
yeah.
Yeah. And so she's got amazing passion for the carnivore diet, and it's great to have her in our community.
Yeah, and that up was so great. I mean, they're all great, but each one kind of takes on their own personality, and just that group of people was just amazing. And I just facilitate trying to draw people's stories out of them, but everybody feeds off of listening to just you know the yeah, just it's so amazing how transformative it is when you finally find the optimal human diet and different changes that can happen. And these meetups are just so important to me to connect people and to connect local people. And I always hope at these meetups, I'm attempting to host a meetup in every state because I thought that would be pretty fun. So that was my segue into Tennessee, since I was attending a retreat there to be one of their special guests. And yeah, I just think, John, it was I don't was that your first meetup you'd been to?
It was the second. I went to one in South Carolina back in September, but I had a blast at yours. It was absolutely a great time.
Yeah,
Um,
it's go ahead.
uh, if you remember Rebecca, she's been on my channel, and she's been on JT's channel, and her carnivore wellness, where she's helping people through Zoom and reaching out and doing the community help and talking to people. I think she's doubled or tripled her membership since then. We've been helping her out. She's doing a wonderful time on it and stuff. And we both had her on our channel. Both did interviews with her.
Yeah, so it's interesting that yeah, this is like a grassroots effort, right? Because mainstream media is not letting the cat out of the bag on this one, because they have a lot to lose with big pharma and big food. And I'm a little, I guess I get to this point where I'm a little bit afraid of what's happening with who owns these channels and getting shadow banned, where like my channel might not have be shown in the algorithm as much because I've got the word carnivore in it. And it uh yeah, I feel like everybody needs to just keep doing everything they can to start spreading the word and getting people together um to to understand that. I don't want to say it's us against them, but this is really serious stuff.
Well, and absolutely. And if you look at it, Google owns YouTube, it owns Facebook. All these social medias that we're all on, they can easily go away really quickly if somebody wanted to shut them down. Um, that is why I think it's important, to get on people's emails lists, to get on different social medias. You got a great email list. I know that you have going on yours. I got an email list. Those are great ways for people to reach out and us to have a direct connection with them. If we get shut down. Now, I post all my videos, go to Rumble and to Odyssey. I don't know if you're doing that, but it's an
Not
automatic thing. You can set it up, and then all your videos automatically get transferred over there. It's worth doing because it puts it on a different platform, so you might be able to transfer it to another platform if YouTube decided they didn't like our content. But
Yeah,
I
just
think
so
they're going.
too.
I think they're going more after like you or Dr. Barry or Dr. Hampton or Dr. Kiltz, they're going after the doctors and shutting down because I don't know. I'm getting pretty good coverage on my channel right now. I'm pushing with 1,200, subscribers now. And I don't see the shadow banning, but I do. If I go searching, I do notice that I don't find the doctors' videos as much as I used to, and that's alarming. I think they're trying to shut down the people who are considered the officials.
Yeah, I had a pretty significant drop off in yeah, in audience analytics, let's say. And it started right around when Dr. Berg put out his video about how this whole shadow banning thing is going to be happening. So yeah, that's
I've got your channel up there, Doctor. You guys go and subscribe. We'll get your numbers right back up.
yeah. So
Uh,
I go live every Tuesday night, and I either have a guest on with me from the carnivore community, or I do cooking demos, or I do Q&As. Or I will talk about a particular topic. Like I have a video about what to say to the naysayers, which is a whole video about dealing with friends, family, and coworkers who are uh, just always ready to, let's say, negate what you're doing. And that it's really important to understand that there's a lot of help out here. There's a lot of information, and you just need to find it, you know. Um, yeah. So I started a second YouTube channel for just specific eye issues because so many people wanted very specific topic related videos about dry eye and all that. So I said, let me branch off of the carnivore channel and do that separately. But I just started that. I only have one video up right now because I don't have time because I'm so immersed in this, trying to help as many as I can. I have, 5 weekly groups right now that I host, and uh, it takes, this whole thing takes up so much time. You guys know, you get into wanting to help people and spread the word, and it's all consuming. It becomes a whole lifestyle.
It's fun though knowing I found out about this through Carrie from Homestead House sharing his story, and I totally just changed my health. And I said I have to help people share their stories. It's like I don't know, like a life mission now. I guess I just know that each story is going to help somebody, and there's just so much joy in my heart that. So I appreciate you sharing your story like you have been, because you're a beacon of light, and there's going to be a lot of people out there who can relate to you. They can understand the way you like to teach things, like the way you like to say things. And I just want to say that I appreciate you, and I hope you keep doing what you're doing. Now, you guys, look, she's obviously looks like a superhero. Now, I want to know a fun question. What's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero, gosh. I don't even I'm like even thinking what are superheroes? When I was a kid, I remember my brother watching when we had TV dinners in front of us, watching Batman and I guess Superman. Those are the only like superheroes that I know. But yeah, I wasn't in the comic book realm or any of that. So, for me, my superhero is Charles Washington. He was the one that, formed that forum and was what changed my life. So that's a hero to me. Um, I I just think that there's just so much misinformation out there. It's so sad, and it's so much of it's like greed and money driven. And I think how we all feel right now is that people have to know, and the message has to get out. And it's wonderful. Like Dr. Barry, he's got over 2 or 3 million subscribers on his channel, and he's a big proponent of carnivore and keto. And Dr. Sean Baker's trying to change the medical, like from a sick care system into a healthcare system. And yeah, it's exciting because there's so many really positive changes. And I think more people like you and John and everybody who's like kind of the same thing with me, like how I was back then. You come into this and you're like, you want to just shout it from the rooftops, and you want people to understand and to know that they're killing themselves and they're going to kill themselves. And it's really serious that you take control of learning what you should and shouldn't put in your mouth. It's so hard because people are so there was Dr. Oz. What are all those shows that come on, and the doctors and all that?
Yeah.
And they're spouting the whole like plant-based movement and got to have fiber. And it takes a lot. It takes your own personal, like I said, that why that makes you cry, that gets you to the point where you're willing to understand that, there's cognitive dissonance here. Like, I'm told this, but I'm trying this and I feel great, but this is what's supposed to be healthy, but this is supposed to give me a heart attack and I've never felt better, you know?
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
this is an I question. These are my full reading glasses. I've been carnivore, and over the last month, I no longer need my reading glasses to read. And do you have
That's
an
awesome.
idea why carnivore would heal my eyes after 8 months to the point where I can actually read without being blurry?
I have had a lot of different people reporting that their prescriptions have reduced. I don't know, John, if your distance vision's perfect. It was
Yeah, my
just
distance
reading.
vision is perfect. It's just reading. All I need was for reading glasses. Anything that's close, is blurry. If I get it out of far away, then I can read it. But now I don't. I mean, unless I get it really, really close, it's
It's
I can actually read again. That was, you know, glasses. I carried them around my pocket, but I refuse to use them. Um, but I'd get to, at work, and you'd be trying to read something off the screen and you couldn't read it, or you're trying to read a label, at the store. And somewhere over the last month, it just stopped. I was sitting there going, I can actually see again, you know. So it's that's a remarkable thing. I didn't know if you had an answer for that. I don't understand it, but it's
Yeah,
pretty
you
cool.
know what? One thing that I say, because so many people will ask me and they go, "Well, what about this? Will this get better? What about my tinnitus, however you want to call it, the ringing in the ears? What about my, this rash, or what about this, or what about my um, macular pucker, or my dry eye, or my blepharitis, or everything?" And people just are just, what about this? Will it help this? Will it help this? I go, you know what? Our bodies are here to evolve. Our bodies are continually trying to heal. Like if you get a cut, your body's going to heal. A virus, you get a fever to spike your temperature high to kill the virus. The body is just knows what to do to heal it. We
So
haven't been.
possibly like the inflammation in the body that I've cleared out from getting on the diet has allowed my body to heal. You know,
Yeah. And there's, so I feel like it's really going to help everything. Things that are end stage and scarred, like end stage macular degeneration, that stuff's not going to reverse. I try to
sure,
be a realist with this. It's not like, this is not like some magical miracle thing, because most people have been eating 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of trash.
Mm.
What I call it the standard atrocious diet instead of the standard American diet, because this is worldwide. And you're not going to reverse some of these things, but the
sure.
seed oil, the seed oils, they can take 6 to 8 years to clear out of your body.
Wow.
So just, you'll see, John, even years down the road, it's going to get better and better. But as far as the
It's
eyes,
exciting.
people say, yeah, will it correct my cataract? My doctor says I got a cataract. Well, if you have a cataract that's ready for surgery because it's that cloudy, most likely that's not going to reverse. And even if it did, if it took 6 to 8 years to reverse, you need to have your vision. So you're going to need to get the surgery. It's simple, it's safe, it's, painless. It's like, it's not a big deal. So I try to talk reason into people, like, but as far as prescriptions, there are a lot of people that have been saying that gradually over time, their prescription has improved.
Hmm.
It's interesting. I just I didn't expect it. Like I said, I've been doing carnivore for 8 months. I've had lots of non-scale victories. Lots of things have improved, but it was just over the last month or so, and it was literally over the last 4 weeks. I just started getting to the point where I didn't need them to read, and maybe it was because I was trying to read more, and and I was probably being a little bit more ornery about it and trying not to use the glasses. But and so I was kind of forcing my body to try to focus in or something. But I'm excited to not have to wear them. I got prescribed glasses when I was 6 years old. And then they told me after 6 months that I didn't need them, and that's been my goal ever since, not to need them. I wore them. I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, I guess, at the time. I wore them for probably 6 months to a year. No, you don't need these, and they took, and that's been my goal since I've been a kid, not to have the glasses on. It's just not me.
Killing it, John.
So
Do you have a
the old
favorite
man glasses.
non-scale victory, Doctor?
A favorite what?
Non-scale victory?
Oh gosh, non-scale victory. For me, it's just food freedom. It's just the freedom from cravings. It's the freedom from being so obsessed about and always thinking about food. I always said that, if I could just be relieved of that addiction and stay at the weight I was, I would be okay. So yeah, that's really been the best. And then I think for me, it's this overwhelming overall optimistic feeling that I'm onto really truly what our bodies are intended to be nourished by, and that I am going to hopefully live a really long, healthy, productive life and not be going down that horrible path. I mean, I saw it happen. Most of us have probably seen it happen to our parents between, oh my gosh, my parents, between diabetes, hypertension, cancer, Parkinson's, what else do they all have? Yeah, but just, oh, and a stroke. Seeing that, witnessing that, and saying, I don't want to be in that spot. I mean, my parents were obese. My dad passed last year, but my mom is diabetic and overweight. My brother's obese, and he is type 1 diabetic. So I come from a family, like, people say, well, it's your genetics. Your parents are diabetic, your brother's diabetic. Certainly you expect to be diabetic. Well, guess what? I wasn't having anything to do with that. I don't believe that I was, dealt that card and that's where I was going, because I realized diet is everything. I mean, yes, there is some sort of genetic component to a lot of different things, but diet is what pulls the trigger, really. That's just the loaded gun.
How many meals a day are you eating, Doctor?
I normally eat twice a day. I just naturally fell into that. Every once in a while, it's once a day, just based on if I don't get to eat until like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock, then I'll eat a big meal and then I'm just not hungry the rest of the day. But most of the time, it's twice a day.
I'm doing twice. How many meals a day are you eating, John?
I try to do one meal a day, but occasionally I'll end up doing two. But my goal is to do OMAD. I put her webpage up there if you want to pop that up, JT.
Absolutely. There we go.
So this is the doctor's web page. It's carnivore-doctor.com. And there she's doing somersaults on the beach and
Yeah, the
living,
cartwheel.
or cartwheel, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
She lives the Vida Loca on the beach here.
yeah, and
And
so I am just to take some people under my wing, to have them live my carnivore life here on the beach. I'm hosting now beach retreats for 5 days. You come live with me, and I cook for you and do cooking demos. We do walks on the beach. You can come to the gym with me, and yeah, it's all about, really, it's all about community, and it really is just so important. Like, to me, that's one of the most important aspects of this whole thing, is just not sitting at home attempting to do it by yourself, because it's really, really difficult to um, try to assimilate yourself into a world of standard atrocious eaters out there.
And how does someone sign up for that again if they're interested?
So on my on my website there, I have a place for group coaching. I do private and group coaching, but um, it brings you to a website, and I have a separate website for the whole carnivore beach retreat, which I have also linked right there in that. Yeah, well, that's for the coaching.
Living like the Charlie Sheen, Two and a Half Men lifestyle out there, right in the beach. You remember that show?
Yeah, I never saw it. I know, believe it or not, I don't watch TV. I mean, I have a TV hanging on my wall, but I don't ever turn it on. So I've never even watched Two and a Half Men.
Yeah, he had a mansion out in Malibu, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
What?
So, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask her, what are you doing for exercise? Do you exercise right on the beach? You playing volleyball or something?
No, I pretty much I walk every day. I host some Step Bet. Step Bet is a cool app where you get paid to walk, and it really holds you accountable. It's just a fun kind of free app that I've got a lot of my group members involved in. So I go out and I walk usually about, I don't know, 8 to 10,000 steps every day. And then I do weight training just twice a week, 30 minutes. I have a couple YouTube videos on that. It's a slow burn method. It's very, very effective. And it literally, it's hard to believe, but just in 30 minutes twice a week, you can have a very, very effective way to keep your muscles supported. And because, if we do not lift weights, we are going through sarcopenia, or it's going to be muscle wasting pretty much after the age of about 35. So it's so simple to do, and it's really, really important. And a lot of us get very complacent, just sitting down, surfing the web, watching TV, and weight training is really, really important.
That's awesome.
You
Now,
got a question at 8:34
8:34.
or 7:34 your time.
Let me see if I can see it here. If you see it, go ahead and read it to her because I can't. Going through this list
I'm going
here.
back to now. A question: would your retreat help get me from ketovore to carnivore? There's just a few things I can't let go of.
Yeah, so it's like a boot camp. It can be for people who are sort of waffling back and forth in and out of carbs. Because when you come here, I will not be serving any carbs. You will not be served a vegetable, but there will be plenty to eat, and you will definitely be able to have snacks in between. But it's going to be jerky and pork rinds and cheese and carnivore kind of things. I won't let you starve, but yeah, it is a way of just immersing yourself in my total carnivore lifestyle, and see how normal and natural it is to prepare these things, and how simple and easy it can be. I mean, I'm going to show all sorts of different recipes and ways to, because a lot of people say, well, don't you get bored? I'm like, no, you know what? I so do not get bored. And I'm going to tell you, I do these recipes and cooking demos for people who are newer to this. But honestly, my lifestyle has turned into, I'll just make some ground beef, or I'll grill up a steak. It's so simple. It's so easy. I'm never bored because when I'm hungry, those things are delicious. Really, really just so good.
Can't beat it. S. McCabe, Dr. Lisa Wiedeman is brilliant. Yes, she is. Thank you for having her on your show. Where does she like to travel and how does she eat there? That's a good question.
Where do I like to travel and what do I like to eat there?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, so when I travel, I do travel quite a bit. Just any type of trip that I go on, let's say if I'm driving, it's so simple just to pull into either a Wendy's, a McDonald's, In-N-Out Burger, all of these burger places. You can go on. You know, a lot of us have posted how we order because there's specific ways to order. I don't just order without the bun. They have a la carte menus where you can order 3, 4, 5 patties. And, you learn all those little kind of tricks when you're on the road. But, you know, I, um, I feel like I can go to any restaurant as long as it's not a vegan restaurant and I could be perfectly fine. I do not order pretty much most any place don't order chicken wings because most of the restaurants deep fry them in seed oils. Buffalo Wild Wings is that one franchise, but you got to call because not all of them, but they do deep fry in beef tallow. And some of the real good, true, like you have them down there in Tennessee. There's not so many up here in New Jersey, but you have those great places, barbecue places where they smoke the wings, and that's awesome. But you got to be careful because sometimes they smoke the wings, but then they will flash fry at the end. And they won't tell you that they're smoked wings, right? But you really have I pretty much tell most every restaurant where I go is that I'm allergic to oils. Can you please make sure no oil touches my food and let me know if there's any oil in your sauces or in your preparation of the food? And because it's really that important to make sure that uh, people are aware because you don't want to put that in your body for once you know how inflammatory it is and how long it takes to get out of your body. The
Mm.
half-life is so long on that and it absorbs into every cell in our bodies. So it's really just so important.
That is.
So somebody said, I've tried every place in my town and only Wendy's lets you do a la carte. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, it depends on the different places that you have, but usually McDonald's everywhere, I can talk them through. You got to tell them, oh, you got to go onto the second page. And then maybe you have to call over the manager. The manager will do it for you.
I got a hack for you. I got a
But
hack for this. So you go to McDonald's and you order the 4 quarter pounders or whatever you're going to order, and then you get the mobile app and you give them your code off the mobile app. Well, what happens is now it saves your order on your phone. And so the next time you walk up to McDonald's, you don't have to order. You go on there, order, and you reorder what you ordered last time with the 4 quarter pounder patties. And it'll tell you right there if they offer it, what the price is. And you can just order it and then you just walk up to the counter and get it.
how did
Once you
how did
have it,
how did you get it in there the first time?
so the first time you go in there and you order it, you walk up and say, "I want to order off your a la carte menu." Normally they got to find it's normally under breakfast around here in Tennessee is where you find the burger patties. And then once they ring it up, you give them the code off your app, and it links that order to your app.
Okay.
And now it's locked in there, and now you can order that as many times as you want. Every time you go back and you're at a McDonald's, all you have to do is as you're walking up, like I did it today. I walked up and I clicked on it, clicked order, went and used the restroom real quick, walked over there and got my food. I didn't even have to order it from her or try to explain it to her because it was already done on the app. So that's a really cool hack, especially when you're dealing with different McDonald's and you get to you always get the new girl who doesn't like I don't know where that's at.
Yeah, and then there was a thing for a while where I don't know whether it's universal, but that they were eliminating that a la carte option, but you can still talk them through it and to do it for you anyway. It's even if they have it on there as a sausage patty, a lot of them will substitute the burger for the sausage and all that. And but bottom line is, I mean, I'd probably go to one of those places, I don't know, maybe 3 times a year if I happen to be somewhere, because I can always wait, and I can just drive to a store and buy a pound of ground beef and then go cook it. But yeah,
In a pinch, though, it comes in handy.
it does. It definitely comes in handy, especially if you're on a road trip, for sure.
And then, FYI, McDonald's butter is real butter, and it's whipped butter. And so when you go get your burger patties, you can get a couple packets of butter, and you can add some fat to it, and it's really tasty.
Hmm. I didn't know
Yeah,
that,
and the
John.
other thing too is to remember that their round eggs are real eggs. Just you have to order round eggs, and it's actually a cracked, real fresh egg.
Hmm. I didn't know that either. I learned something today. Holy man.
Yeah, you have to look at these menus. Like Wendy's is my favorite because their ground beef is never frozen, so it's fresh. You know, whereas McDonald's is probably frozen, as far as I know. So you had another question here. Let me see if I can spot it real quick. And I answered it in chat, but I'll throw it out there for everybody. Twin Maple says, "What part of the country is Dr. Lisa in?" And you're in New Jersey, right? That's
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
said.
the Northeast New Jersey. Yep. So it's getting cold here, and I'm trying to think about planning a trip south, but I'm in the middle of my beach condo next to where I'm living right now that I purchased for the retreats. I'm gutting and redoing the kitchen to set it fully up for cooking demos and to have yeah, people be able to really fully enjoy the whole experience. So I'm
So
I'll be
when are the retreats starting?
they're charting, they're 2024, June, July, August, and September. I have 4 set up, and they're a little over half sold out now. So I'm pretty
Cool.
excited. I'm putting in a fire pit out on the big deck overlooking the ocean, and yeah, it's just going to be Q&As every day and all day, and just some free time also to enjoy the beach, and yeah, and be totally immersed in a carnivore way of life for people who are just sort of keto and coming into it. It's sometimes helpful to have somebody kind of hold your hand.
So you would these be more directed towards people who are already on the diet but needing some support, or with somebody that's just freshly started? Would be a good thing for them, or would it be, you think, too much? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, what's really cool, John, is it's turning out, because I know some of the people who are signing up, because some of them are in my groups, and
Mm.
so it's a combination. There's some people who have been doing carnivore for 2 or 3 years, and some who are just new to it and really just still trying to wrap their head around it and trying to figure out. A lot of it is because it's a struggle to for all the triggers that are constantly around us. I mean, it's everywhere. It's in advertisements. It's, you walk into the store, and the first thing you see is the bakery department has tables of stuff, and then the aroma that they're piping over from the bakery. You walk into a mall, and it's Mrs. Fields cookies and Annie M. Those pretzel,
Cinnamon.
the Cinnabon and the yeast smell, right? And so it's constantly in our face.
How many
Um,
days?
the,
Lucia.
the the retreats are 5 days. They're yeah, it's 5 days. So I've got a check-in time where we have a little orientation, and we'll go over everything, and everybody's going to get a nice Carnivore Doctor Beach Retreat beach bag that's going to have lots of what's called swag in there of
Let's go.
different carnivore products, and just little gifty things. And yeah, just the whole thing. I mean, I've hosted so many meetups, and they're so incredible. This is like a meetup on steroids. It's 5 days together of, and I'm gonna have a puzzle out, and at night you can just, play games, do puzzle, and talk, and walk on the beach. We'll do sunrise, sunlight in our eyes, walk on the beach bright and early. I'm even going to think about doing one of them. Two people approached me about the problem that they have with yoga retreats, and that they love yoga, but all these yoga retreats, guess what? You can't find too much of meat.
Mm.
They're all so plant-based. And so a lot of times, and this happened to me, I had a girlfriend that wanted me to go on a yoga retreat with her to Costa Rica. And I thought, oh, all right, that sounds cool. I've never been to Costa Rica. And then I'm like, oh, no, I don't really think there's going to be anything much for me to eat. So I'm going to pass. And that's an interesting thing, because in that um, yoga world, there's a big, obviously a lot of people know this about it's a lot of it is vegetarian and vegan. And so one of my retreats may be where I have a yoga instructor and a possibly even a massage therapist, and have a carnivore yoga retreat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love all these ideas. Like, you're just killing it. This sounds like a lot of fun. Anybody out there interested, go to our website and sign up before it's all booked up. Because I think you said it's halfway booked up already, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. So, but
I got one more question, and she may have answered this, but I'm going to ask it again. How many total people are going to be at these retreats? What are you looking
yeah,
at
it's
for
going to be
total?
very, very small. It's going to be about 5 people. Yep. So very individualized, and it's going to be a very personalized experience. I'm going to um, really dive into each particular person's needs, and really make it specific to the people who are attending. It's probably a one of a kind boutique carnivore retreat where you get
It sounds awesome.
an oceanfront vacation, because I'm literally steps from the ocean. The ocean is a private beach, and it's my front yard here, so it's pretty awesome.
That info's on the website, right?
Yes, there's I believe I'll have to check it. A link right in the website where you click on it, and it brings you over to the beach retreat website that has all the information there.
Okay,
Has
I'll get your link and then I'll put it in the description of this video for anybody watching back too. Nia here. Love Dr. Lisa. That's why I've never been to a yogurt retreat, even though I love it. Yeah, it sounds fun. A
Yeah,
carnivore yoga retreat. Yay.
yeah, it's
Uh,
really interesting to think that really the yoga retreats. I've never been on one. I have only dabbled a tiny bit into yoga, so I'm not really in on all that. But I do know that yoga retreats are a big thing, because people go away. It's a whole relaxation. You're immersing yourself in this environment of meditation. And I don't know how many times a day they do yoga, and healthy eating people a lot of times like use it as like a reset for their diet, because now they know they're going to be just served whatever quinoa and salad. I don't know what the heck, tofu, nothing
yeah.
that would interest me. But there is that big issue for any of us who know better to do better with our food choices of being pretty much meat, seafood, and eggs is what I eat. You're not getting that at the yoga retreat. So it's really kind of an interesting concept to do a carnivore yoga retreat. Maybe it could spread amongst the carnivores for anybody who's really into yoga, that you could actually do both.
Absolutely. I'll put a link to your website in here, and everybody can who's interested, they can go sign up for that. Now, we I do want to respect your time here. We're over the hour. Is there anything that you would like to say? Anything on your heart you want to speak about, Doctor?
No, I'm just so thrilled that you, JT, and you, John, are, more soldiers in the army here with me, because, you know, it's just one of those things where I was saying to you guys before we went on that you become so passionate about this to the fact that it's how much it's helped you and how you really want to help others. And it's just a genuine concern for humans. And it's just a wonderful thing. And this whole carnivore community has just been so welcoming to so many people who feel outcast because of trying to do, low carb or keto and turn to carnivore and feel like they're being, I don't want to say ostracized, but I always said it's kind of like flying your freak flag, because people go, what do you mean you're not eating fruit and vegetables? How could you possibly think that's good for you? Don't you realize you're going to have a heart attack and blah, 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 right? We've all heard it. And there's just such a great community of people that you'll find just sticking right together with people who are just like you and passionate to get the message out.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on here and taking time with us simple minds here, me and John, and and spending some time with us and sharing your story, because this podcast wouldn't be anything without a shared story. And you not just helped me out, taught me some stuff, but you helped out somebody who's going to hear your story. And I guarantee you someone else is probably thinking, hey, I'm an eye doctor, she can do it, I can do it, or somebody wants to be an eye doctor, or someone wants to be a carnivore doctor. Now you're going to inspire somebody, and I appreciate you coming on here and doing that, doctor.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys.
No problem. All right, you guys, that's it. My coach says the first law of learning is repetition, so please replay this. There's value in Dr. Lisa, and there's value in her story. So you guys, thank you and goodbye. Rick, I'll do my duck face on the way out for you.